gratitude to a giant Professor Zvi Ben-Avraham, and we shall welcome his successor. Then we'll tour the port and board two vessels affiliated with the University of Haifa. We shall tour the Bat Galim with Dr. Gideon Tibor of the IOLR, and the second vessel is Magan Michael, a replica ship with Dr. Deborah Cvikel of the Department of Maritime Civilizations. I now have the pleasure to invite Mr. Muli Eden, the chairman of our executive committee.
Hi. So first of all, as I believe most of you know, the person who was supposed to greet all of you is Ron Robin, our president. Unfortunately, he was called for urgent meeting in Browde, which is our engineering head, which is so important university. So we went there, and he was looking for replacement. He thought that the best fit is probably by the height, and that's the way I found myself over here placing for him. So the disclaimer I want to give you is the following. People ask me, how is the presentation going to be? I say, I don't know, because the orchestra is mine, but I didn't write the notes. So still, I'll try to do my best to replace Ron, and I would like to believe that Ron will come to us with the good news, because this is very strategic for us. So is out, I don't see Tzili? She's on the way. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Tzili Charney, she'll be here soon. Professor Ilana Frank, head of School of Maritime Sciences. Professor Zvi Ben-Avraham, founder of the school, and I believe one of the first people I met when I joined the university, colleagues and friends. I feel very privileged to be standing here and open this event. Actually, I'm not at all sorry that Ron couldn't make it. Don't tell him. You know, his wife is here. What's done in Vegas stays in Vegas. If you ask me why, I would say that as someone who is dealing all his life with futures, trying to resolve the question, what's next for humanity, where does the future lay, I became a sucker to speak of marine sciences, and that's true, because when I start learning about the university and I spent time with faculty members, actually I find very, very fast that if you look at the food, at the calories that we consume, and all this material, actually we are going to consume very fast what's happening on the earth, and we'll have to go over and start looking under the sea, and that's how I was acquainted to this place. The sea, ladies and gentlemen, is the place to be. Why? Because we know so much more about space than we do on the bottom of the ocean. Yes, you heard me right. And it's almost amazing. We map the moon, and we know the craters of the moon much better than we know what's happening 500 kilometers from our shores. That's the knowledge of the sea, which is going to be the future of our humanity. For the past 10 years, the University of Haifa is home to extensive research and innovation in this field. The Leon Charney School of Maritime Sciences is maybe one of the first real interdisciplinary centers of knowledge in Israel. From geology through archaeology and biology, all the way to maritime technology, these people sitting here today among us are doing incredible stuff, and I believe you've seen part of it. I was definitely amazed, and I promised that I'll go and scuba dive with them, because this is also one of my hobbies, that's the reason I like the sea so much. The sea is where we will be getting our food from, our energy, our economic and geostrategic independence. We proudly lead the national consortium where all the research universities are members, and Haifa is leading it, and probably will lead it forever, courtesy of Tzvi. And we are constantly in search of new discoveries that will lead to the universal solution. But when I say we, I actually refer to one specific man who saw the future and brought it here to Haifa, Professor Zvi Ben-Avraham. Zvi, hi. Raise your hand so everybody will know who you are. Earth scientist, a visionary, Israel Prize laureate, a gentleman, and a mentor to so many excellent students and faculty members. The vision of Leon and Tzili Charney combines with the energy, wisdom, and knowledge of Professor Ben-Avraham had brought the School of Maritime Sciences international recognition and respect. Tzvi, my friend, my friend goes to Ron, not to me. You have to earn it. But Ron call you his friend. I'll be your friend as well. Zvi, my friend, all of us here feel the same way. You are the school, and the school is you, forever. Ilana, newcomers, I have the privilege to meet several times already. You have big shoes to fill. Lots of work ahead, but there's no one more suitable for you to do the job. We are always behind you, and I'll add, if the bullet will start flying, I promise to be in front of you. And you know what I mean. Our dearest Tzili, and I don't see Tzili over here, but definitely will convey it. Oh, Tzili is already here? Where is Tzili? The woman in white. Our dearest Tzili, thanks you for standing by our side through thick and thin. Being the winner that you are, you have dedicated the last year to Leon, not just his well-being, but also to fulfilling his visions and dreams. We are proud to be counted among those and will continue to justify your trust. Today, with equipment that exists in few countries only, worldwide projects, joint initiative with other maritime expert universities and ERC awards, we are moving ahead full steam. This is just the beginning. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I really, really believe in it, that when we were sitting in the board of directors trying to identify what are the things that we believe eventually will single out the University of Haifa, first of all in Israel and then in the world, probably maritime science is going to be one of them. So I would like to believe that you plant your seeds in the right place, and then when you'll see the trees in a few years, you'll be proud of them and you'll be proud of us. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Mr. Eden. I shall now relinquish the podium to our MC for the next portion of our program, the 10th anniversary of the Charney School of Marine Sciences. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Yizhaq Makovsky of the Leon Charney School of Marine Sciences, the Dr. Moses Strauss Department of Marine Geosciences, and the Hatter Department of Marine Technologies.
Hi, everybody. It's really a very exciting occasion. It's 10 years. It's 10 years since 3 people stepped into this university and shared one chair in one office in order to start this school. And it's really hard to believe that so much time has passed. But since then, we have become a team, a real serious team of investigators, a real serious team of scientists, students, technicians, and some of what we do you see over there, and I promise you this is very impressive and amazing, and this is the tip of the ice as far as we're concerned. Yes? In fact, in those 10 years since, I remember just as if it was yesterday, we closed the door behind the first class of students that started marine geosciences at University of Haifa. Yes? As the establishing head of the department. And 10 years after that, we have made a serious notch in the academic scene, in the public scene, and in the environment of Israel. Clearly, Israel has changed its attitude, and I think we are responsible for a lot of that. And you can see now it's a public domain issue. The sea is on the highlight, but it wasn't so. When we came here, Zvi was pretty much the only one that knew that there is a sea behind the beach of Israel. Yes, there is a sea there. And in fact, as I was asked to show the previous president, we actually measured and realized that there is an equivalent territory out there in the sea as there is on land. The economical water of Israel is equal in territory to the land mass of Israel, yes, and give or take the territories. It's in the noise, yes? And so the importance is clearly big, and I think it was crucial that the time we came was a crucial time, yes? And And now I can say that we are actually, some of our talented scientists, in fact, as a team, we are already starting to make a notch in the global scene. And we already feel that the global scene is seeing us. So it's all really very, it was yesterday, and now we are here. Now, where do we start? We start with the vision. A man that really saw the vision that marine sciences in Israel is an important thing, and also gave us the power to realize this vision, and this is Leon Charney. Yes, he decided that he's going to establish a marine science school, and he empowered us economically and with his strong character, banging on the table all the time that in fact this is going to be realized. Meeting him in all those meetings every year and whenever he came by, we also found that he's not just this very remote person, but actually he's a very charming, witty person that it was very much a pleasure to meet, and in all respects, witty in all the respects of that word. In 2016, the University of Haifa created a movie to commemorate Leon, and we'd like to show this movie right now. The movie? אני צריך להראות לסרט. Okay.
Demonstrated. He demonstrated here on the earth. There's a lot we have to learn.
He also saw Haifa as a city that was an integrated city, a city where Christians and Muslims and Jews lived together.
He believed, which I believe as well, is...
Let's start from the beginning.
Do something for society, all society, and bring the University of Haifa into a world class of its own.
He was a friend, he was a mentor, he was an exciting example of a man that combined a vision and the ability to realize his vision.
I think what made him a great self-made man was his wisdom, his kindness, but still toughness. He liked people, and people like him.
Considering his humble beginnings, he made such an impact on the world. You know, a self-made billionaire who gave so much of his money away to good causes. His accomplishments will live on for many, many, many generations.
Born to a struggling Jewish immigrant family from Eastern Europe, Leon Charney was an extraordinary man who achieved great success and bettered the lives of countless others. After putting himself through college and law school from the earnings he made as a cantor and shoeshine, he went on to build a very successful law practice. Later, he became a familiar figure at the White House corridors, providing assistance in the area of diplomacy that led to the reconciliation of many international conflicts. Acting on the request of Israel's fourth Prime Minister Golda Meir, Charney assisted in the negotiations to free 1,000 Jewish dissidents from the Soviet Union, and was referred to by the former U.S. President Jimmy Carter as one of the unsung heroes of the Middle East peace process, and that very few people have played as significant a role. He entered the history books at the young age of 40 for his role in putting together a workable document that led to the 1978 Camp David peace accords between Israel and Egypt.
One of his great attributes was curiosity. If you don't lose curiosity, then your spirit's never going to die. And he never lost that curiosity, or always marveled in what he saw in the oceans. Demonstrated. He demonstrated here on the earth. There's a lot we have to learn.
He also saw Haifa as a city that was an integrated city, a city where Christians and Muslims and Jews lived together.
He believed, which I believe as well, is that the best tool for decreasing inequalities is higher education. This was the reason why he supported the university, why he supported the marine science.
As the honorary chairman of the Board of Governors of the University of Haifa, Leon Charney's unwavering support advanced and contributed to the development of the university as a center of research, academia, and national hub for multicultural cooperation. His vision and generosity led to the establishment of the Leon H. Charney School of Marine Sciences, which catapulted the University of Haifa to global prominence in this increasingly vital field. All the while, Charney supported the activities of the American Society of the University of Haifa, ASUH, and was an invaluable friend to its executive board, working tirelessly to expand the circle of friends and supporters of the university in the U.S., and regularly offering to host special events at his home.
Leon Charney understood that the basis of progress is knowledge and getting more knowledge through experimentation. And that's how he became connected to Haifa University. Leon recognized that one of the great unexplored areas of the earth, it sounds like there wouldn't be much to explore, but is the oceans.
The Charney School of Marine Sciences make a difference in Israel and in the Middle East because it creates the nucleus of scientists that work in many fields. Before Charney School was established, most research in Israel was done in shallow water, low tech. We now have most advanced instruments existing in the world.
He presented me not just, that marine science is a terrific issue whatsoever, but he also, gave an analytical analysis why he thought that marine science and sea is so strategically important.
We at the university invested a lot in order to become the best, and Leon was extremely happy by the progress of this school.
Well, Leon understood that the University of Haifa was in a unique situation. It's right on the sea, and its access to the sea and water was essential to Israel. One of Israel's great geographic benefits is its location.
There is no question, and I know that the school will stay for many generations to come, and it's all thanks to one person, Leon Charney.
Doing a Marine School of Science gives me tremendous pleasure of putting that money to work in a constructive way so that someplace, somewhere in this society, people can benefit.
I'd like to say, Leon, we are honored to be named after you, and we definitely miss your energy. We remember you with a lot of energy, and we miss your energy. And as a continuation, I'd like to call to the stage a person that kept this vision and is keeping this vision, our dearest long-term friend and supporter, and the vice director, the vice chair of the university board, Mrs. Zvi Charney.
Hi, everyone. I also miss Leon. I remember that since the beginning, as Leon was introduced to the university, it went very quickly to let's build a marine science school. And once Leon put a vision on, it was, the steps were very quick into a reality. It's really exciting to see how much was achieved in 1 decade. It's an amazing project. I personally like to stay dry, but I imagine that in the next decade we'll go deeper, and for that I'm willing to get wet a bit more. So I just wish the school all the best, and we have lots more to do, and we'll get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Zvi. Now, with all this power and vision, we had to have the man that could harness all those things and in his passion and skill, and skill in scientific terms, and skill in his way of dealing with the different bodies, could realize that dream. Professor Zvi Ben-Avraham. Zvi Ben-Avraham, there is so much to tell about him. Personally, to me, he's been my mentor for forever, almost since I started my academic career. I came to him as a bum and that didn't even have the right grades to go into geophysics, and he made sure I get in. And since then, he still needs to support me all the time, right? Zvi finished his PhD at MIT and Woodsall in '73, and then had a future ahead of him, had positions in the US waiting for him, but he met Yochai Ben-Nun that told him to come back home because we need him here in Israel. And so he came back home and he settled here in Dalia's kibbutz in very poor conditions, and came and actually brought marine sciences in Israel from nothing to where we are standing today. Along the way, Zvi has been had held professional positions in many universities, including Stanford, Cape Town, Amsterdam, UCLA, etc., editorial positions, and many positions at academies, including the Israeli academies, but not only the Israeli Academy. Something more in the short time that I have. In 2003, Zvi received the Israeli prize, the very prestigious Prize of Israel, and served as an advisor to the President Peres. And it's been 10 years that Zvi is actually leading us and bringing this all up, and is making sure that he navigates between all our desires and all our wishes and between reality. And I think this is the time, Zvi, please come, that we'd like to offer you our gratitude. Sharon? Yes, as we are departing from Zvi as the head of the school, but we are not departing from his leadership, that's for sure. That remains. Thank you very much.
Wow. Yizhaq brought some memories. The chairman of the executive board, Mr. Muli Eden, the chairman of the board of government, Professor Alfred Tauber, vice chairman of the board of government, Mrs. Tzili Charney. The rector is not here, right? Okay. The vice president of the University of Haifa and director general, Mr. Baruch Marzan. Vice president of development and external relations, Professor Dan Chernov. Vice president and dean of research, Professor Ido Yitzhaki, member of the government board, distinguished guests, and colleagues. Yizhaq really brought some memories that I did not plan to talk, but I will talk. How did I come to study the sea? I learned to swim only at the age of maybe 13 or 14, because I grew up in a small kibbutz near Jerusalem. It was far away from the sea. But then, it's a long story, I decided to study geology, and in the second year of my study, I realized that the ocean is the future, and since I was a good student, everything I was applied, accepted, I decided to go to MIT and Woodsall, and found myself doing my PhD on the Java Sea and South China Sea. And I was offered immediately assistant professorship at MIT. I was happy there. I meant one day to come back to Israel, but since coming from kibbutz, I didn't have any money. I wanted to save some money. And then after half a year, a legendary figure came to my small apartment. And Yizhaq mentioned the name, Yochai Ben-Nun. Yochai Ben-Nun was a previous commander of the Israel Navy, and he was one of Israel's heroes. He was really a hero. You know why he got the hero? Because in the Independence War, the main battleship of Egypt was in the Gaza port, Farouk. And Yochai, on a torpedo, he actually swam with the torpedo toward the ship, and few tens of meters before it hit the ship, he jumped and saved his life. So he came and said, Zvi, we heard about you, MIT, leave all this nonsense, come. So I left all the nonsense and I came. When Leon Charney came along, I was at Tel Aviv University. I established and directed the Dead Sea Research Center, was very happy there. And then Leon came. And about 11 years ago, Leon had a vision. And 10 years, and about this time, Leon Charney provided me with the challenge of a lifetime. And a quote, he said, from here, great science will come, he said. 10 years ago, there were only 2.5 new academics, Yizhaq and Michael and Uri, and one administrative assistant, Sharon. Sharon, raise your hand. Without you, nothing will be here. As Yizhaq said, for half a year, we share a small room together. Today, we are 31 academics, 43 administrative staff, including technician, lab manager, diving team, and engineers, 202 graduate students with 25 postdocs from all over the world, and 4 departments. Today, I can honestly say that great science is being conducted in the Leon Charney School of Marine Sciences. You have to understand the numbers are very important, because when I came, I told Aaron Ben-Zeev and Yossi Ben-Artzi, the president and director, look, I want that you will promise me how many positions I will have. I remember that they say 12. Now Yossi correct me, we said only 6, but the university moved along. They could not. I myself created 29 new positions, people coming from places like MIT and Caltech and Rutgers and Oregon and Leeds and Bergen and you name it. My vision for the school was to create a place where geologists, biologists, archaeologists, engineers, historians, social sciences, and lawmakers could come together to teach, study, and share their experiences working in the marine environment. The University of Haifa provided me with a platform to do it. I am proud of what we have managed to achieve in such a short time. During the last 10 years, I have had the honor of setting up and heading the leading marine academic research institute in Israel. It was not an easy task. Creating new departments and convincing old ones to come under the wing of the Charney School was often a lesson in politics, leadership, and human relations. However, I cannot take the sole credit for what I've done. Over the years, I have been aided by many creative and talented people. A pyramid is only as strong as its base. Without the continuous support from the University of Haifa, high-quality administrative and academic faculty and gifted students, none of this would have been possible. Together, they have provided a solid and sturdy foundation for the scientific output of the Charney School and have allowed us to become not just a regional, but also a world leader in the field of marine sciences. The Department of Maritime Civilization was established in the 70s and already existed when Charney School was founded as an interdisciplinary entity. The department studies the complex interaction between human society and maritime medium through history. The department engaged in advanced research of coastal and underwater spheres, as well as the Mediterranean in a more general way. Field of expertise include Mediterranean history and historiography, coastal and underwater archaeology, ancient harbor and shipwreck, sedimentary archaeology, ecology, and marine resources. This year alone, the Department of Maritime Civilization conducted survey in Cyprus, southern Israel, shipwreck excavation in Caesarea and Ma'agan Michael, and harbor survey and excavation in the Bay of Dor. The Dr. Moshe Strauss Department of Marine Geosciences was the first new department to be set up from scratch in 2008 under the umbrella of the Charney School. Yizhaq was the first chairman, and it was easy for me because this is my field of expertise. The department studies the geology and sedimentology of marine environment from the air, seafloor, and subsurface. Studies range from how gas percolates through the sediment in deep ocean to how seafloor current move these sediment along the continental shelf, how marine landslide transport sediment to the ocean basin, and how tsunami can return them to the coast. A wide suite of methods are used, such as seismic reflection survey, coring, seafloor sampling, studying of foraminifera, grain size analysis, and other unique techniques currently under development in the department. Michael is the current head. Where are you? Over there. I had problem to establish the Department of Marine Biology. It took me a year and a half to find Danny Chernov. Danny, we're talking about you. A year and a half took me I could not find somebody to put the department together, and he came along and did a very nice job. And research in the Department of Marine Biology covered themes from marine ecology of top predators to microbial ecology and developmental biology to marine biogeochemistry. Samples from the ocean, either the Eastern Mediterranean or the Red Sea, or from laboratory experiment, can be analyzed with diverse array of biochemical, molecular, and physiological tools. The combination of different viewpoint approaches and technology enables the Department of Biology to tackle complex scientific questions in a holistic manner, from deep sea to the coast, and from the scale of the ecosystem to macromolecules and genes. Tammy stood up, the current chair. Raise your hand. The Hatter Department of Marine Technology was the last department to join the Charney School and was only recently established. The last, but definitely not the least, the department operates and develops more sophisticated underwater vehicle, including powerful remotely operated vehicle, ROV, and most advanced autonomous underwater vehicle, AUV, both capable of going down to 3 kilometers and the most advanced in the field. You have to understand something. When, as Yizhaq said, when I started to create the school, all the work most of the work on marine science was relatively in shallow water. And the motivation of the government to give money to go down there is that Tamar gas fields that changed everything here were discovered in deep water, 1,770 meters, and we needed the tool to go and monitor what's going on down there. Recently, the department embarked on a collaboration with the Girona University in Spain to develop two main portable AUV, which is undergoing additional upgrade and integration of novel technology in the department labs. Also in the collaboration with Texas A&M project, TEMO is a great success, extraordinary success. Recently, the project is putting monitoring or observatory in deep and shallow water. Shallow water means like 200 meters, deep water 1,500 meters, of monitoring continuously the ocean, which is very, very important and very advanced. You have to understand something. Israel's future is in the sea. As Yizhaq say, our EEZ, exclusive economic zone, is a side of the land area, and it's very precious to us. I'll give you just one example. Most drinking water in Israel now come from desalination plant. The desalination very much depend on the income of the water, and we have various filters, but sometimes the filter even cannot control all the pollution that is going in there. We have to continuous monitor and do. This kind of instrumentation that we have in our coast do not exist in the Mediterranean until you reach France. They do not exist in Turkey, not in Cyprus, not in Italy, not in Greece. You have to go as far as France to get similar technologies. Currently, we are also as Yizhaq say, I have another hat, and I am the head of the Mediterranean Research Center of Israel, which is nicknamed or acronym MERCI. And within this MERCI, there is another buoy, deep buoy, by Bar Ilan and the Oceanographic Institute, and that also at 1,500 meters and monitor. And one of the aim is really to collaborate various universities in Israel. The department continued to focus on advanced research in autonomy, robot maneuvering, underwater imaging, acoustic, and underwater navigation. I want to mention one point more. I see a great importance in collaboration with our neighbors in the Mediterranean, with the Egyptian, Lebanese, Syrian, Turkish, Cyprian, Greek, Italian, and so forth. On a scientific level, there are some degree of cooperation with each one of them. I remember one time telling President Perez, how come I can talk with all our neighbors and you politician cannot do it? So he mumbled something, but he did not give me a clear answer. It's very, very important to understand this. As I look at the past, I am filled with sense of pride and joy of what we have achieved. As I look to the future, I am filled with hope. Hope that the university will continue to support the wonderful thing that they build. Hope that the state of Israel will continue to see the importance of marine research. And I hope that our scientists and students will continue to explore the most exciting place on the planet, the ocean, and I wish a very, very much luck to Ilana in the tough task that you have, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Zvi, and thank you. And I guess one sentence to mark where we got to and what our achievement, we just had a review committees of the Planning Commission of the Ministry of Education on the school and on the Mediterranean Sea Research Center. Both reviews were exceptionally good. They were both exceptionally impressed with what has been built here. And this is what has been. But the future is ahead of us. We are not stopping. Zvi will remain as our guardian, but somebody needs to take a school, a body like this, and drive it on. And for that, there is a woman that in fact was born into the marine sciences, right? All her life was in marine sciences, and she graduated a PhD in geophysics from MIT. I'm getting confused. Sorry, she got a PhD from the Hebrew University, and then did a postdoc at Irvine, and got back and spent 15 years at the Faculty of Life Sciences in Bar Ilan. And from there, she comes to us. As a new recruit and as a new leader, Professor Ilana Berman-Frank.
Sorry, I forgot to mention the current head of the Maritime segregation, Gil Gambash. Where are you?
Good afternoon, everyone. We had a slight misunderstanding. Before I give the vision of the next decade, I would like Daniel Scher, a member of the Faculty of Marine Biology, to give us just a very brief highlight of one of our most exciting projects. Daniel, please.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Daniel Scher. I'm a faculty at the Marine Biology Department. And I'd like to tell you, like Ilana said, about one of our maybe most exciting projects. Can you hear me at the back? No. Talk to you about one of the most exciting projects we have, and maybe start with a vision of the Mediterranean. So the Mediterranean's out there, and some of us think of this as our vision of the Mediterranean. Maybe that's our vision of the Mediterranean. Maybe that, and maybe something like this is our vision of the Mediterranean. This is my vision of the Mediterranean. It's a photograph from space of the Mediterranean. You can see it over here. It's surrounded by light. Here's the Nile, here is Israel, here is Italy. And the fact that it's surrounded by light means that there's human populations there. There are cities, there are towns, there are villages. And ever since antiquity, the sea that you see outside here has been surrounded by a mass of humanity. This humanity has traveled through the Mediterranean, has mapped it, has fought over it, and it's always been in the center of change. But now the Mediterranean is feeling even more change than it has over the last few thousand years of its existence. So fishing and overfishing has always been a problem in the Mediterranean. We're in Haifa, and we've got many examples of how infrastructure and industry pour pollutants out into the sea and affect its ecosystem, affect the structure of it. Somebody said something about desalination. Desalination is the new lifeblood of Israel and of the entire Middle East, but desalination plants take out water from the Mediterranean and return saline water to the Mediterranean and may affect it very much. And you've all heard about the massive gas and oil exploration, which is changing the whole way that we look at the Mediterranean, how we ply it, how we make use of it. But we're also part of the world, and global change is also here in the Mediterranean. In these graphs here, you see changes since 1978 in the temperature and in the salinity, the increase in temperature and salinity in some of the water masses in the Mediterranean. So global change is happening over here, and it's happening even faster than it happens in other places around the world. So we really want to understand how this system works, how this Mediterranean works at a system level, so that we can try and understand to what extent these changes here will impact us. What do I mean by system level? So like everything in the ocean, it's driven by the sun, it's driven by physics. The physics move the water around, the physics bring the nutrients bring life. Life starts over here at the bottom of the food chain with tiny phytoplankton, tiny single-celled algae that are like the plants on Earth. And these give the energy for the entire ecosystem going all the way up to the predators, to the fish that we eat, and so forth. If this marine system works well, then we have a stable ecosystem, we can fish, and we have good quality of water. If it doesn't, then we could have things like massive jellyfish bloom, fish mortality, changes that are indicative that something might be not 100% with our ecosystem. Our challenge is to try and understand how the system works, all the way from the physics through the chemistry to the biology, to understand it at a scientific level, but also to try and get information as close as possible in real time and to allow decision makers to use scientific tools to manage this system. So that if we think something is wrong, we can talk to the people who can actually make change. So how are we at the University of Haifa and the Charney School of Marine Sciences trying to address some of these issues? So this is another vision of the Mediterranean. Here is the coast. You can see Haifa. This is a bathymetry image, so this is the bottom of the sea. And these two triangles here represent the THEMO buoys. THEMO stands for Texas, Haifa, Eastern Mediterranean Observatories. The third circle that's found over here is the other buoy that we referred to, the Bar-Ilan buoy that Ilana has been a big part in organizing. These three buoys, but specifically the THEMO buoys, look something like that, but underneath this buoy there's a chain that goes down to the bottom that has a whole set of sensors that measure things like physical parameters, salinity, temperature, and so forth, some biological parameters, the amount of these phytoplankton, of these single-celled algae. This is streamed in real time. You can go into the website and you can download it to yourself. And when you look at the data, they look something like this. So this is the first real high-resolution data we have of changes in the Eastern Mediterranean. This is the phytoplankton, again, these single-celled plants, as they increase from fall towards their spring bloom. This gives us something that we haven't had in the past, a high-resolution image of 1, 2, or 3 places in the Mediterranean. But that's not good enough, because to really understand the system, we have to add the vision from the top. This is a satellite image, again showing the dynamic nature of these phytoplankton. But again, now this gives us a point in time and a spatial view, but it still doesn't tell us who is there. To close this loop, we must go out to sea, and we've instigated a collaborative set of research cruises. Every month we go out on one of these 2 ships. We collect water, we make many analyses. Part of what we do is we look at the genes of these organisms, all the way using the most modern genetic technologies to understand what organisms are there, how they interact, and how they affect our ecosystem. This comes together with monitoring sharks, with monitoring fish with the most advanced acoustic technologies, with looking at jellyfish, and all together, this is supposed to give us, for the first time, a holistic view of this entire system. And this is the first time that we now have so much data that we have to work very hard into trying to understand it, to disseminate. This is the challenge of big data meets ocean science. I'd like to thank, I've only put down the people who are really instrumental, who have gone on the cruises. There must be a much, much longer list than this, and I apologize, I did this last night, I'm probably missing somebody. Many of the research groups that we work with, and of course, the support of the people here, of Zvi, of Ilana, of the people from IOLR, and of the research cruises. And thank you very much.
Sorry, I forgot one more name. The head of the marine technology, Morel Gropper, is here. Morel also came along. Lucky for me, he was the chief engineer of the Navy, and most of the faculty members in the department come from the Technion, very technical, and put really Haifa in a different place. Thank you.
So I know that we're late. I'm going to cut to the chase. And what I want to give you a taste of is where we're going in the next decade, looking beyond the horizon. And Good afternoon, everyone, if I haven't said it. Welcome, distinguished guests. Again, we're short on time, so we'll go to the chase. I won't convince you that the sea is our future. Other people talked about it. And this is what led to the establishment of the school and where we are today. But let's take a cruise in time to the not-so-distant future. And this future, is a dynamic future. It's a changing ocean under a changing world. And as we all experience this changing, we have to respond and act under these changing conditions. We cannot rest on our laurels or on calm seas. And we need to respond innovatively and look to the future role of the oceans in our lives, and also the school's future within this ecosystem. And we need to ensure that we have a future within this ecosystem, and that the ecosystem is a sustainable one. This is in Galapagos, all forms of the food chain enjoying lunch together. So what is our ecosystem vision? Zvi talked about the vision of when he established the school and for the last 10 years. So we would now like to take it to become the leading academic institute of marine sciences in the Mediterranean, but we actually want to be one of the leading academic institutes of marine sciences in the world. So we have a long way to go, but we've started in a very good, we're in a good position right now. So what is our strategy? Our strategy is composed of 4 fundamental tenets. They're sketched here in 4 circles with the Leon Charney logo in the center. So our first tenet, and this is really what the last 2 days people have been talking about, academic excellence, knowledge and insight. This is the basis of academic excellence, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. We want to establish cutting-edge interdisciplinary science and innovation and teach world-class academic education to the next generation of marine scientists. But this is not enough. We need to transform our science and our technology to solutions and opportunities for stakeholders like the Navy, like the industries, like all different forms of commerce, the food industry. Again, this is not enough. Another important tenet is to form marine-based ecosystem communities. We want to reach out to the public, to be a part of the greater community. We are not alone in this world of marine sciences. The sea affects us all. Whether you feel it today or whether you'll feel it in a few years, it affects us all. And the 4th tenet is we want to influence decision-making and policies so that this again will feed back into a sustainable marine future to provide scientific foundation for policies and regulation. So what's the winning recipe? And this, I'm really sad that the president of the university and the rector and Muli Eden aren't here, because I worked very hard on changing my lecture till 4 in the morning for this. You're here, thank you. Thank you, Fred, great. So Ron talked about we need to change our structures. We need to change our behaviors. And I say, yes, but we also need to change our concepts. So how do we do this in marine sciences, or what is needed? So let's take a minute again to focus on this academic excellence and how we measure success. And academic excellence, it's big words, but when it comes down to it, and as scientists, we know we get measured on very quantitative measures. How many grants did we bring in? How much funding did we achieve? How many papers do we have in really competitive journals? And it's hard publishing today. It's not easy, and it's always hard getting that rejection letter on something you worked on for 2 or 3 years. But we work hard at it. And we've worked hard for 10 years The team at the Charney School has worked hard, and they've achieved domestic and international recognition. I have 3 examples here, but all of the team at the Charney School has worked hard and has achieved this recognition. So Beverly, who is a National Geographic explorer, Tali, who just received the Rector's Award for Best Young Scientist yesterday, and Asaf Yasur Landau from the Maritime Civilizations, who's began a really important collaboration with one of the best institutes of oceanography in the world, Scripps Institute of Oceanography. And also our research partners that have worked with us and are working with us. All these say something about our status, about believing in our ability as marine scientists to bring something forward. So these are our measures of success. But we need to improve on this. We need to change our structures. And I've noted a few things about how do you change structures to stimulate academic excellence. And one of the most important things is we need to encourage, we need to tempt people, whether it's faculty or students, with competitive scholarships, with really good, innovative infrastructure that will bring the best people from postdocs in places like Scripps or Woods Hole or Rutgers to come and to work here in Israel and Haifa. And we need to get those really good students away from the Technion and Weizmann and bring them here to Haifa. And we also need to provide new academic opportunities for non-traditional students. We are starting next year, we will be teaching marine science and introductory marine sciences to the captain's courses. The Army or the Navy has their bachelor's of science courses for the captains. We will be teaching marine sciences to them. We have international students and international programs. These are new opportunities. But we need to take a further plunge. And very important, as the Board of Governors are sitting here, before we take the plunge into something else heavy, all these things, all these parameters to stimulate excellence, they're resource expensive. So we need resources for them, not just the human power. But let's take the plunge to something a little bit more, another change of structure. And this, yesterday at the strategic meeting, they also talked about it, moving from the ivory tower, from the hill, moving down to the coastline. So this is definitely the sea is our natural environment, and this is where we want to go. But it's not, a building at the seaside is not a big issue. That's not what we want. We want to form new partnerships. We want to form a hub, a marine complex that includes the School of Marine Sciences, maritime startups, an aquarium, tourism, galleries, maritime museums, shops, commerce. All these can be part of this complex, kind of like Cannery Row, Monterey Bay, to those who've been there. I'm finishing in a minute. So that's a change in structure, changing concepts. This is very, very important, and I hope you convey this to the president and to the rector. We are now connected to 2 different faculties with the 4 departments. This causes us various tensions. We want to expand, and we want to bring in other aspects of marine sciences, other aspects dealing with the marine world. And for this, we really need to move on from being connected to faculties to being a faculty-independent school. This is an essential element of moving into the future. And the last thing is changing behaviors. So changing behaviors is really creating a common culture. And I think when we have this marine-based hub here on the beach side, we can start seeing a common culture created. This is in La Spezia, where I worked a few years ago, in Italy. The whole city focuses around the marine world, the maritime world, and they have these big festivals every couple of years. Haifa could be the same. It could be really a change in culture. So, the winning recipe. Focus on academic excellence by changing structures. And, again, build a seaside hub. An independent school, a faculty-independent school, academic independence, and integrating the culture into sustainable maritime ecosystem. These are the essential ingredients. And I would like to end with a question. How do we get there successfully? And as we have maritime civilizations at our helm in marine sciences, I took an example, or Gil gave me an example of an old battle that was fought at 480 BC. This is the Battle of Salamis, where the Greeks defeated the Persians with 200 ships of war. The Persians were much, much stronger, but the Greeks came and they defeated them with concerted effort and with innovation. And this is what we want to do. And we need your help for this. So we invite you to help us make this vision a reality. Thank you.